This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Jay from Unfair Sports. Jay, we talked in a previous video about Oklahoma now in the SEC. I've talked with a lot of different, whether it be content creators, writers, media, insiders, whatever, a lot of different folks about just conference realignment continuing. Obviously, Oklahoma, Texas kind of got us kicked off 3 years ago and now are in the SEC. But as a very new member, as a very new person that's in this conference, how do you view what's going on with Florida State and Clemson right now as they try to get into another conference, whether that be the Big Ten or the SEC?
Yeah, it's fascinating with how that contract was set up. I mean, who signs a contract that long? Like, who even allows that to even go through? But we won't get into the legal portions of that. No, it makes sense that they would like to go somewhere where they can actually compete and be more aggressive around like revenue for the teams. That way they can invest more into the programs. And because we're about to get to the point where we're going to start paying players. No, not NIL. Talking about revenue share. That bad boy is coming now, especially after that house settlement that just came down the line that needs to be signed off by a judge. Going to be probably seeing that in the 2025 season, if not 2026. There's going to be some writing checks to these players and sharing some of their revenue. And honestly, it's been a long time coming, right? These kids have been doing a very good job of upping the pay for these coaches. I mean, once coaches started making more than NFL coaches, that told me at that moment, now this is absurd to think that the players shouldn't be getting a piece of this pie. They are making everybody money around them. The grown-ups are getting paid. And NIL-wise, man, we can get mad about that, but they're making everybody money. So Clemson and Florida State recognize that, no, the SEC cares. So can we get a conference that cares too? The Big Ten is showing they care. Can we get a conference that cares too? Now, it's funny because everybody, literally, SEC Media Days, Big Ten so far, heck, Big 12, I think they had some questions there too asking, hey, so what's this rumor about, Florida State and Clemson making it a move to your conference? Did people think they were going to be stupid enough to say, oh, absolutely, we had a conference call last week, we were going to work this
They
out.
were on the Zoom, boys.
It was on the Zoom. No, nobody's dumb enough that will put them, that's a legal, man, that would put them in so much legal fire. Like, they would not be able to get out of litigation for that. No, they're not. They're probably tampering in the backgrounds, but at the same time, they're waiting to see what happens with the rulings. And once things go down, what they're supposedly the AG's probably gonna close this bad boy out very soon. So that happens, and Clemson and Florida State are going to be free agents. I can see both the SEC and the Big Ten saying, hey, let's have a conversation. I know that they're talking models with like ESPN and Fox about that because it only makes sense. They're big programs. They're massive brands that's going to do nothing but bring more eyeballs, potentially more money.
It's funny, obviously being around Florida State. I mean, anybody watching this probably already knew that. But, if you're new to the channel, first of all, hit subscribe. Second of all, a little closer to Florida State than most programs. But, it was funny hearing people say like, oh, they don't, nobody values them. What value do they bring? What do they bring? Like, who cares? And I don't want to, I'll take off the garnet gold colored glasses when I say this, and I don't mean to be so hyperbolic, but Florida State's name dominated all 4 media days. Like, don't tell me that they don't bring any value. They don't bring any eyes. Nobody was mentioning Oklahoma at ACC Media Days, and that's not a shot. Nobody was mentioning Colorado at Big 10 Media Days. Nobody was mentioning Georgia at Big 12 Media Days. Florida State was mentioned at all 4 from the podium, in interviews, or all around. I don't buy the they don't bring value argument. What are your thoughts on? And a lot of people say this, and I don't know if you have a real strong take here or not. But either way, what are your thoughts on people say, well, Oklahoma did it the right way. Oklahoma and Texas, like they structured it out, and they didn't cause this big commotion, and they didn't have to sue and be in court and all this stuff. What are your thoughts on the process that Oklahoma and Texas took versus what Florida State and Clemson are doing?
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
Well, Oklahoma and and Texas were lucky enough that their conference didn't throw them in a contract for 45 years, right? So that TV contract's not holding them back from being able to leave. There's the Big 12, just like the Big 10 and the SEC's contracts are structured similar to the pros. 7 to 10 years, because they know that this product is doing nothing but going up in value. So the opportunity always opened up. I mean, you gotta remember with Oklahoma starting in the Big 8, which is going to go back into the 80s, 90s, or whatnot. Big 8, they added 4 more teams, went to the Big 12, and then you saw the 4 teams break off. You got Nebraska leaving, you got A&M, Missouri, and then Colorado all bounced. And I mean, in one way, all Oklahoma wanted to do was play Nebraska at night, and everybody refused to do that. Thanks, Fox. You just hated us for it. We throw shots at Fox a lot now because we don't have them anymore. The SEC recognized that. And so, yeah, Oklahoma and Texas, they recognized that the money was continuously going up in the SEC and the Big 10, but it wasn't moving enough in the Big 12. Now, granted, I mean, probably rumor has it Oklahoma and Texas were getting the largest piece of the pie because they're the largest brands in the conference. But they knew that at some point, if they really want to compete for championships, they got to get that revenue. They got to get a piece of that big pie. And the SEC saw that and said, absolutely, we'll take 2 of the biggest brands in college football in. Come on down. I think Florida State and Clemson would have done the exact same thing with some other conferences if they weren't stuck in a big, massive grant of rights deal until, the end of eternity.
Yeah.
That's why I don't believe Clemson and Florida State are wrong. It's, to me, the ACC was stupid to sell themselves out so cheap, right? That product, the contract should have been a lot larger, especially when Clemson started going to national championships. After Florida State won a national championship, then Clemson kept the cycle going, right? That's when that TV contract should have went up. It shouldn't have been. They should have never let ESPN play them like that into getting such a small deal. But we love ESPN over here because they're SEC. Shout out to them and the SEC network. But the thing is, that should have never been an option. So to me, I don't have a problem with what Florida State and Clemson's doing because, man, they have cost both of those schools, actually any school in the ACC, the opportunity to actually compete for championships by doing that to their team.
I got a couple of follow-ups there. Points. The original deal was signed in 2013. You know what happened that year? Florida State won a national title. The follow-up was signed in 2016. You know what happened that year? Clemson won a national title. Since then, since the SEC's reign of terror of winning 7 straight BCSs, the ACC has won more national championships than every other conference out there. I think it could be more than every conference combined. I think Ohio State has one, Michigan has one, and Florida State and Clemson have 3. I don't think there's another conference that, So anyway, all that said, yeah, I think that, the ACC had an opportunity and they couldn't get it done. I kind of agree with you. There will be people that comment on this. There will be people that say, oh, Florida State's the bad guy. And, they got labeled as disruptors by McMurphy while you were at SEC Media Days. And so. Maybe they are the bad guys. Maybe they are trying to get out of a contract that they did sign. Maybe they are disruptors. I think their options in their mind, right? You may disagree with this. I may disagree with this. The general public may disagree with this. Their options in their mind are we do this, we become the bad guys, we disrupt, or we die. And so if our option is die or disrupt, we're going to disrupt. And, 4th of July is past, but I won't make this like the colonies or anything, but I think that's the same thing they thought when they were founding America. We either do this or we die. Right. And I think that's the, and so Florida State's trying to break free, right? You could make all the silly analogies you want, but I think that's really what every argument has ever been about. Every time, there's a reason that contract law exists. Oh, Florida State signed that contract. They should never challenge it. Well, should we just not have contract law in this country? Because people challenge contracts every single day, Now, Florida State could be wrong. They could get ruled against on everything. They could lose out, but at least they tried when they feel like they're about to die. So there's
exactly,
I'm a homer. Guarding gold colored glasses, I get it. But, the idea of they should just sit there and take it. Why don't they just shut the program down today then, if that's the case?
Right.
At least they're making an attempt. This is a hot topic, I wouldn't say controversial, but people have a lot of strong opinions about this. Where do you think they land?
Man, To me, I think Clemson goes to the SEC. Florida State hits the Big Ten.
Who's each of their? I'll follow up on that. Who's each of their partners? Because I don't think either conference has just one.
Right. I agree. I think the SEC eventually takes 4. I think it would be Clemson, possibly the 2 North Carolinas, because I know that they're both attached to the hip. I think Florida State goes and possibly pulls Miami with them.
Yep.
And there's a chance going up, you could probably get the 2 Virginias to also follow them. So if you do 4 there, that's your 4. You got Clemson, North Carolina State, and probably maybe a Wake Forest goes to the SEC. Then you bring
for hoops or something.
bring a little hoops in. You got to have a little hoops there.
The SEC is the best hoops right now, so you'd solidify.
It's true.
That, sure.
I mean, you could probably just take Duke too, right? UNC and Duke, and just make UNC, Duke, North Carolina State, and then Clemson and be your 4 there. That'd actually be a really good 4. Yeah. And then you'll see Florida State, Miami, and probably both the Virginia teams head to the Big Ten. Just so you can get additional territory and additional areas or whatnot, viewership. Those are the ones that make the most sense to me if you do make that move.
I like it. Well, enjoy your time in the SEC. Hopefully we'll catch up to a Power 2 conference here before too long. But where can people soon enough follow you? Where can they find your work?
Find me here on YouTube, Unfair Sports. Search me here on YouTube as well as wherever podcasts are download and listen to. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks, bud.